Yeah, listen to that uproarious applause. I've known Norris for a couple of years. I first did a story on him a couple of years ago and got the chance to follow him around and learn about him and his life and his many achievements. And for this, I have to go to my notes. He has too many achievements for me to possibly commit to memory. He's the most decorated athlete in Washington State history. That's pretty amazing. 3 times U.S. bronze medalist, 11-time NCAA All-American. He holds 2 high school national records. He's a 5-time state champion and has been ranked as high as the #1 long jumper in the world for 5 straight years. And his life story is still being written. I think when you hear it, you will be inspired by what he's achieved, but more importantly, you'll be inspired listening to it by what you'll be able to achieve. So listen closely, and I think you're going to feel kind of, empowered and ready to take on the world after you've heard Norris's story. So without any further ado, Norris Frederick.
I really didn't understand exactly what it is or what I was going to get myself into. I always knew that I had a natural gift to jump, or natural talent to jump. Wasn't the fastest sprinter in the world, wasn't the best athlete in the world, but one thing that I did have was drive and motivation. I never ever wanted to lose, and it didn't matter what it was, it didn't matter who it was to, it was just me not wanting to lose. One of my best friends is here, her name is Ellie, she's in the back. It doesn't feel as good to win as bad as it does to lose. And I never really understood exactly what that meant until I was faced with it in 2012 at the Olympic trials. Now Ellie and I have been friends going on 12 years now. And everywhere I traveled, she came with me just to keep me at peace and with a level head. And we go to competitions, and sometimes I feel that she understood me more than I understood me. And she understood that if I'm sitting in a room not talking, it's not because I don't like your company. It's not that I don't want to say anything to you. It's just the comfort of being around somebody that knows me and understands the things that I'm going through, puts everything at ease. And growing up as a kid, things were a bit rocky, and I didn't really understand exactly what was going on at all times. And the toughest thing to deal with was not knowing what's going on at all times. I love my family to death. I love my mother, I love my father, I love all of my brothers and uncles and aunts and everything. But there's something that has always stuck with me. And it was the alcohol. My father was a wonderful man, great guy. He just had a terrible problem. And whenever alcohol was introduced in our household, it just seemed as if terrible things happened. And I never really understood how to channel the anger or the rage, frustration. I just always understood that if I can see light at the end of that tunnel, everything will be okay. I'm 29 years old right now. I've never drank, I've never smoked, never been incarcerated. I've never been in trouble with the law, to be honest. And it's not the luck of the draw. It's simply just because that isn't the life that I want to live. Fortunately enough, things that I've read and research that I've seen and heard, if you grow up and your one parent has been incarcerated more than a handful of times, it makes the kids susceptible to being incarcerated more than a handful of times in their childhood or in their lifespan. And sadly enough, my dad was incarcerated at the time. And I never really could grasp on why he continued to use a penitentiary or a jail as a revolving door. I never could understand the motivation behind that. I think that what it does to someone. What I've been told is poverty means you're from the ghetto, you're poor, you don't have a lot, lack of resources, broken household, whatever you can put together and imagine. Simply what poverty means to me is triumph, faith, light at the end of that tunnel. You force yourself to do something that you normally wouldn't do on your own. Poverty, I'm not coming in a parking lot to my heart. And it's heartbreaking when you think about some of the things that kids go through and parents go through. And it's really weird to understand that as an adult, you're living your own life. And then you're also living your life for your children. But I think, at least in my experience, I paid attention to my childhood. And I paid attention to all the things that I've seen and all the things that happened in my household, and that it shaped me to be who I am today. A person that will never put his hands on a lady. A person that will try his best not to use swear words in front of his mom or another authority figure. And to be respectful and to understand that other people have feelings. And you never really understood the athletic part. 2 years ago, I got knee surgery. And during that knee surgery, it was probably one of the toughest things that I ever had to go through. I am a highly talented, I'm just an elite athlete, to say the least. And I can push myself through any injury, through any doubt, through anything. And I can push myself and push myself. But when that knee surgery came in, it was a screeching halt to everything that I'd ever worked for. Now, I'm sure people in this room have had major surgeries. I, fortunately enough, haven't. But that knee surgery did something to me. It triggered something for me. It triggered discouragement, doubt, self-pity, self-hate. Made me want to hurt myself and hurt other people around me because I didn't know how to cope with what was going on. And as athletes, being injured is it's the way of life. We deal with it, we push through it, and we go on and have success in what we do, but everything was completely different. As Jim said, I've been ranked as high as the #1 long jumper on the face of this planet. I don't know how many people are on this planet. And allowed them to cut me feel just a little bit better. I was supposed to be on crutches for about a week. Now, for those who know me, I'm barely coordinated enough to walk a straight line, let alone have some crutches with me. So I said, I don't want the crutches. After the first day, I put them down, and I was like, I'm going to go to the state high school track meet, and I'm going to walk. I'm going to do it at my own pace. That state track meet was something that I did. It wasn't for me. I had a team of people that I've coached for the past 5 years that trusted everything that I said. So when I mustered up the courage to go out to Tacoma to watch this meet, I'd already broken some ground. I told myself I was going to do it, and then I did it. A week later, I started riding a stationary bike, and I started trying to stretch and do all these other things because I'm thinking in the back of my head, like, the competition's passing me up. Everybody's getting better. I wanted to cry so bad out. I think there was something inside of me telling me, following week, go back to the surgeon. And he was like, Norris, have you tried running yet? I said, no, because you didn't tell me to. And he said, oh, I forgot, you're an athlete, you need to be told what to do. And I said, sorry about it, but yeah. So I go to the indoor track, and I ran 50 yards. Walked back, and I said, that felt good. So I ran it again. Then I ran it again. Then I ran it again. Next thing I knew, I broke a sweat. And all of a sudden, and I enjoyed it. So I called my coach, and I'm like, Coach, I think I'm ready to compete. And he asked me the same question several times. And yet again, for those who are close to me, they know that's my biggest pet peeve. I do not like being asked the same thing over and over. Norris, are you ready? I said, Coach, yes. Norris, are you sure you're ready? Coach, duh. I'm ready, I'm here. So he was like, all right, well, try this. So I ran. Little did he know I was feeling all types of pain. Knees started to swell up again. Something cracked. And I told myself, like, I watch all these videos on YouTube about the grind and how people push themselves and, oh, I'm gonna fight this injury back because now it's fighting me. And then I realize that this is real life, and that's YouTube. And with video tricks, you can do anything. So I took some more time off. Start of the season rolls around again, and we're in January. I'm geared up to compete. My mind's focused. I'm ready to go. Matter of fact, it's a long jump of my competitive professional season, and all of a sudden my energy levels drop. I no longer cared as much for track and field as I used to. And the toughest thing is like right now, I'm openly admitting that to myself, and I've never done that before. And I was a zombie that entire season. I traveled all over the world and got beat. Competition after competition after competition. I'm sitting on these buses, I'm sitting on these airplanes, and I know how hard everybody else is doing. It's just silly to me. I get back in Seattle and I sense of arm around me and tell me that things are going to be okay, or tell me like, Norris, it's just a work in progress. But the funny thing about walking around like you're tough all the time, on which I chose to do, is people often forget to ask if you're okay, or if you need something. Because with the attitude that I had, when you walked up to me, you looked at me and you're like, hey, you're okay, don't even worry about it. But that's not what I was feeling inside. I was hurting. I was sad. I wanted to give up. And then it started affecting other things in my life where simple things would put me over the edge, and small things which... And all of a sudden, it's changed. Unfortunately, you come home with a belt on your neck. Your mom's taking that from you. Or you're telling yourself, like, I'm sick of this, and then she calls your bluff and tells you to get out. And to trust somebody that can win a state championship. I either got kicked out, pushed to the side, and then all of a sudden he did something that I never expected him to do. And I don't know, there might be a few people in here that can vouch for it, but when a teacher calls your mom several times in one day, me as the kid, I already knew what the punishment was. But when he continued to do it, it put a stop to that dumb behavior that I was doing. That doesn't mean other people don't know why I was a nuisance as just myself anyway. So, but a kid from Redmond High School, a white kid, called me the N-word repeatedly in the middle of a basketball game, as my coach told me to, and said, "Sir, they are saying racial things to me and the other black guys on this team, and it's upsetting us. Can you please do something about it?" And the referee said, "Play basketball, don't worry about that." By the collar of my under, or my tank top. And he said, "You can never put your hands on my kid. What the H is wrong with you?" And jerked me away. Cool story. I did martial arts. You hit the coach, you're going home. I would hate to say that situation was racist, but what other way can I paint that picture? It's hard to be 15 and 16 and to deal with something like that when your mom or your dad or whomever can't come and protect you, because that's what I wanted. I didn't want to have to grow up right then and there. I was too young. Now I realize that. But because those hurt, and they're not fun. Just being an athlete. I'm a best friend. I'm an uncle. I'm a nephew. I'm a son. I'm a brother. I'm a coach. Hey, I'm a motivational speaker. But athlete. That's all that I ever did. See roommates, I said, done. You know how much stress that took off? I knew who my roommate was. He wasn't dirty, wasn't weird. So he comes by my house and was like, "Norris, I'm moving to the dorms with me today." I said, "Right now?" He said, "Yeah, I just started packing up my stuff." And she cried, and it seemed as if she was upset. But I didn't understand why. And for me, whenever I see my mom cry, I cry. It's what happens. So I said, "Is everything going to be okay?" She said, "Yeah, bye. Just leave." I still did not understand what was going on. So I get in his car and I'm like, Obrien, I think my mom is upset. I never put into perspective what it's like for a parent to see her baby leave for college and I'm the last one. Well, actually, I have a little brother, I forgot about him. But when I left for college, I think she felt that I was leaving the nest and that I would never come back. But he said, Norris, I don't care if it takes you 6 years to graduate from this university for it out of my pocket, but you will not be a product of your environment. You will not fail and you will not be a loser. And I looked at him and I said, be careful what you tell me because I'm holding you to it. And he was like, then hold me to it. I don't want to see you at practice for the rest of this week. Matter of fact, you take as much time as you need off, but you are not going to quit. And I looked at him and I said, all right. The next morning I woke up and I called the Roosevelt coach and I said, Coach, will you train me? He said, Norris, yeah, I'll do that for you. This is the same guy that I won 5 state championships, broke 2 national records, and became the most decorated athlete in Washington State history behind. I had 130,000% trust with him holding my career in his hand. 6 o'clock rolls around, I'm out here running around the track, feeling sick, go back, go to class, call him again, can I practice with the other guys? He said, yeah, so I went back, I did 2 of days, from October, whenever, all the way to the middle of December in the freezing cold, in uniform to compete. And he looked at me, and he said, who are you? I said, I'm Norris Frederick, I'm on the University of Washington track team, and you guys know the story. And he gave me a uniform and 1 pair of spikes. That's all I needed. That's all I had in high school for 3 years, 1 pair of spikes. And I walked down to the track and I'm excited. This is the first time I get to compete with the college guys at the college level. And ear to ear. And my event coach, his name is Pat Licari, walked over to me and said, what are you doing here? It's like, Coach, I'm here for the track meet. What does it look like? He said, you haven't been at practice in over 2 months. You're not jumping anything. And the head coach comes up behind me and was like, he's been practicing with me. I looked at the head coach and I'm like, do you know your line? And I winked at him. That wink was a wink of confidence. Coach, I got you. 20 minutes later, I had the #1 jump in the world recorded by anybody in 2008. Or 2005, sorry. So let me repeat that. If there's one thing that you guys can walk away from after today, there's going to be bad things that happen to you no matter what. Under any circumstance, things can always go south. It's what you do when that happens that makes you that great person, or that great athlete, or that great parent, or that great teacher. Everybody has it. We can all walk, talk, think, breathe. We can do all that. That's the easy part, so we think, until it's taken away from us. The true testament of how tough you are, how great you are, is when your back is against the wall and you have nothing else but the person that you've been looking at every single morning when you wake up and look in that mirror. Your biggest critic, your best friend, the person that doubts you the most but picks you up when you're down. I had a hard time identifying that. Who you were. You are not going to outwork me. I will be at practice 3.5 hours early, warming up to assure that and to back that statement up. And when you challenge that, oh, I'm going to give you everything that I have. 2005, I was the #1 jumper in the world. 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009 rolls around, same thing. And I hit another bump in the road. There. My best friends weren't there. People that I knew, they weren't there. All the self-doubt came back. But this time around, I don't have anybody to tell me everything is okay. My roommate for 2 years was the #2 jumper in the world. Every time I woke up, I had to look him in his face and figure out how I'm going to beat him at practice today. Talked about motivation. It doesn't get any better than that. I woke up next to the competition. I don't think in 2 years I ever had a sick day. Made an excuse not to go to practice because he was the person that was waiting for that so he could take my spot. The cool thing was, is like when we got the competition, he was my biggest fan, and I was his. I don't know if you guys understand the measurements of track, but on the phone about how excited he is. You guys don't understand what that does for me. You don't understand how much that actually helps. In order for me to be the best in the world, I can't do it alone. I need you guys to help. I need the support of my city. I need the support of my state. You guys aren't fans. You guys are a part of this journey with me. I can't tell you guys like, oh, yeah, these are my fans, because that's not what you guys are. You guys don't represent that. There's so much more that you guys give me that I can put into words. That was a huge reason why I wanted to come here today and tell you guys thank you and let you guys understand, like, I can't be where I am today or doing what I'm doing every single day because it's not fun to wake up and then run and feel sick and then take a 45-minute break, drive over to Kirkland and get my butt kicked again. That's not fun. But you guys make it fun because you guys are on that journey with me. When I post about it and you guys give me these uplifting comments like, hey, I want to try that. Or, hey, that's so cool that you can do that. Tomorrow doesn't seem so bad. Saturday morning at 7 a.m., when it's still dark outside, doesn't seem so bad. I'll sacrifice that for you guys. You guys sacrificed your time for me, I can sacrifice my body for you guys, and that's what I'm...
So that is Norris Fredericks. That was a little bit of his interview and his speech at Roosevelt High School.